What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another episode. And today I want to talk a little bit about the double standards within women's basketball. So I was at the Sweet 16 game with Notre Dame versus Texas A&M last week. And with about 2 minutes or so left in the game, Enrique gets a fast break and scores a crucial basket that I believe put us up 8. And as she turns to run down the court, whoever was there trying to guard her before the basket, she turns in front of them as she's running down the court and yells, "Let's go." And the ref calls a tech.
Bruh.
So y'all know how I feel about refs, but in this instance, it was a particularly bad call because the entire game, Kennedy Carter and Enrique had been going back and forth. They had been talking a lot of smack. They had been in each other's faces. And it was what made the game fun and made it entertaining. So for you to call a tech at a really important part towards the end of a very close game in the tournament was extremely terrible. It was an awful call. And I couldn't help but think that it would never happen on the men's side, ever. In a tournament where your seasons are on the line, emotions are high, it's a close game, and you call a tech and essentially have a moment where you can take the game into your hands instead of letting the players play it out. And especially in a game where players were already talking to each other and you allowed it. It really didn't make any sense. But it really got me thinking about all the other times where women get the short end of the stick and are held to these double standards in women's basketball. Just the week before that, the Michigan State coach, there was a clip of him getting in his player's face. And there was a lot of talk about whether that was appropriate or not. And you saw a lot of people come to the defense of that coach because they were saying that it was making them men, it was making them tougher. That's what you needed to do in the basketball game. It's an emotional game. Players are passionate. It's much different than the workplace. But even if that's the case, do you have that same response when it's a woman? Let's take Cheryl Reeve, for example. Coach Reeve is definitely known for being passionate, we'll say. She definitely doesn't hold her tongue when it comes to the media, her players, even refs. But when she goes off, or maybe has that same attitude towards a player or a ref, it's seen as being emotional, it's seen as being unreasonable, it's even seen as being crazy. So it's really tiring to have this double standard where you see these rules, even within your own sport, from people within your sport, about what is ladylike and what is appropriate. And that stretches farther than just the emotions of a player or a coach and how they may react to something. Let's talk about the dress code before games, for example. So the NBA and the WNBA both have dress codes for the players on what they can wear before the game as they're entering the arena. Now, the WNBA dress code is strictly enforced, and you will get fined if you're wearing something outside of those standards. But let's take a look at some of the NBA outfits before the game. All I'm saying is that we can't continue to hold women to these double standards. Women are allowed to be passionate. Women are allowed to react to certain situations. And we have to stop putting these boundaries on women for what people think that women should be, especially when we're not holding men to that same standard. So that's all I got for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and check me out next Monday on time this week, next week, for the next Down and Dirty with Devereaux.